And you're going to feed it. You're going to pull it out. It's in your chart. It says wait for liquid, and then it says to pour off the liquid as much as you can. It's not harmful to you. It won't hurt your starter. We just want to get as much of it out as we can so it doesn't create extra acidity, okay? Then we're going to feed it. If we have a cup of starter, how much? A half a cup of starter, how much are we going to feed it water?
Half a cup.
And how much flour? Heaping half a cup. So we're going to feed that, put it in the door of the fridge. It will bubble, it will fall, it will get the liquid. We feed it again. At this point, we have a cup, and so we'll feed it a cup of water, heaping cup of flour, mix it, put it back in the fridge. At this point, you have 2 cups of starter. This is the amount that I recommend for most average size families that you keep, 2 cups. And the reason for this is because you will always be reserving 1 cup of your starter for growing and feeding. Okay? You don't want to go down too far below 1 cup, because then you get into scant levels of organisms and you're just not sure what balance is in that little teeny bit that you've got left. So I'm giving you keys for long-term success. Keep it, try to not take your starter down below a cup. Minimum a half a cup, okay? Always reserve at least that much to grow and feed, okay? So as you've gone home, you've done this process, you waited for the liquid, poured off, fed. You're now at the 2-cup capacity. If your starter is bubbling up, and here's the key to knowing when it's ready to use, okay? Usually this happens within 12 to 24 hours after feeding. Your starter will bubble up. It will look like the starter did, where if you have bubbles all the way through it, you can turn it around and see bubbles in every nook and cranny. The most important thing is that you can look at the top and see bubbles just under the surface. If there are bubbles just under the surface, you can be pretty sure that there are organisms in every single bit of that starter. And that whatever you scoop out is going to do good work for you in your bread. Okay? So, that 2 cups bubbles up. I look at it, it's got bubbles on the top. It's ready to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop out and make some bread. And then the next day after that, I'm going to scoop out and make some pancakes. And the next day after that, I'm going to scoop out and make some muffins. And then the next day after that, there's going to be a little bit of liquid on top. And what am I going to say? Feed it. Okay? Even if you're thinking, you open your fridge in the morning and there's liquid on top and you think, oh, but I wanted to set up some dough tonight. I wanted to, because the way these recipes work is you mix up the dough either the night before or the morning before. You give it a long rise, then you shape it, let it rise 2 hours, and then you bake it. So you don't have to babysit it. You can do it while you're sleeping or while you're working all day. But you get these long rises that let the organism break down the wheat. So you think, oh man, tonight I wanted to bake with it, but it's got liquid on it now. So here's what you do. You take out what you would use for bread and you put it in a Tupperware. Stick that in the fridge and you feed your starter. You never, ever, ever sacrifice the whole for the one. Because if your starter's not happy, your bread will be miserable. Okay? You always feed your starter when it's time to be fed. Don't put it off. Yes?
Can I just ask, when you said the bubbles on top and all through it, do you think that's more important than if it doubles?
Yes.
Okay.
Because sometimes it will not always double. There are times it will increase, right, but it won't necessarily double. And I have a blog on that. It's called Bubble or Double. And the most important thing, as long as the bubbles are all the way through it, as long as you can look at the top and see the bubbles on top, you know that it is good to go. I'm going to check our time because we got to... Oh, man. It's like the trial of my existence, I try to pack it all in, but I still always end up running out of time. So, but here's another important thing, you don't have to feed your starter every time you use it, but you do only want to feed what you plan on doubling. So, if you have 2 cups and you haven't used any of it, and it's time to feed, it's got the liquid on top, what happens if you feed that starter? You have 4 cups, right? You will end up like the lady who called me crying on the phone because she had 20 jars of starter in her kitchen. And she was literally just like in a panic. I just can't feed him anymore. I don't know what to do. So you always have to either use it or you need to get rid of some. I mean, it's just a fact of life. You either have to use it or dump it. If you have a compost, it's great in the compost. If you have chickens, Chickens love it. They love to eat it. If you, like I said, you can use it in soups like the one lady was talking about. I have another lady really good with plants. She says she dilutes it in her plant water and uses it as a plant food. I mean, they're just all kinds of different things. And I'm going to give you this waffle recipe right now, and then I got to start making these waffles, and we'll get you doing this other stuff because I don't have a lot of time post class tonight. I've got
recipe in the book.
It's not in the book.
Thank you.
So here's the recipe for the waffles. This is what you use if you have 2 cups of starter and you haven't used it and it's time to feed it. This is what you make, okay? What you're going to do, and actually, let me. Okay, we're going to do this together. Is we are going to do. You're going to start. You're going to do 2 eggs. Now I'm going to be doubling this because we're going to make extra for this class. So you're going to do 2 eggs. Then you are going to do a teaspoon of vanilla. Measuring spoons? That's okay, I'll just eyeball it.
Because you can.
Because I can. I don't hardly measure anything at home just because I hate doing dishes. It's really what it comes down to. What did you say?
The cap is usually a teaspoon.
Oh, yeah, probably. Okay, so that's a teaspoon, yeah, let's just do that, of vanilla, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 cup of milk. Okay, and that can be non-dairy milk. If you have someone that's lactose intolerant, it's just fine if it's non-dairy. All right, we're just gonna go with it here, right? It's a little salty, you know why. Okay, let me. There we go. Okay, and then so what you're going to do is you're going to do that, and then I do this all right in my blender because, like I said, I don't like dishes. So you're going to pulse this mixture in your blender. And let's see, where's my wet measure? So I'm going to do a 1/2 cup because I am doubling this. So you're just going to pulse it to combine it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to measure out a cup of starter. If you have a fancy blender, like a Vitamix or a Blendtec, you don't want to dump just the blob of starter in there because those blenders are designed to be able to knead dough. And I remembered that as I watched this little dough ball form in the middle of my blender while I was trying to make waffles. If you have just a regular blender, they actually do a lot better at just chopping the whole thing up. So what you do, actually let me pulse this and I'll come right back over.
How much starter again?
1 cup. A starter? No, it's a
It's not, it's by the milk. The black top's over here.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Okay, let's just pulse this real quick. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to. Where's my other mixer? Oh, is it in that thing? That's fine. So we're going to measure this out, and I'll just show you right here. If you have a fancier blender, I'm going to show you the approach you're going to take with it.
Does it have to be a blender, or can you just use like a wand thing, or?
I've never tried the immersion blenders. It could work. I just don't know. So this is what you're doing. I'm going to get messy here. But you're just going to take clumps of it and put it in. That way it's not one big ball of gluten that's getting developed. It's broken up. And it can be broken up that way. So what you're going to do is then you'll blend this, the cup, and it'll be a little bit runnier than your average waffle batter, but you'll pour it just right in. If you have, like I have a Belgian waffle maker, it really is the best way because you get more surface area getting cooked. If you have a smaller, flatter one, turn the temperature down and let it cook a little bit longer so it doesn't just get cooked on the outside and then it's gummy in the middle. Does that make sense?